climate change in language that a sixth grader could understand with unimpeachable peer-reviewed footnotes. We couldn't agree more. It's quite remarkable that despite the steady growth in scientific understanding about the causes and effects of climate change and the growing confidence of climate scientists that it poses a potentially serious threat to people, property, and ecosystems, the public seems more confused than ever. Is climate change really happening? If so, and if it's happened due to natural causes in the past, why should we think it's our fault this time? Haven't scientists been wrong before? They can't even predict the weather a week in advance. How can they possibly say anything about what the climate will be like 50 years from now? A big part of the problem is that climatology is a relatively young and evolving field. Scientists are still learning about Earth's climate system, about how the land, oceans, and atmosphere absorb heat from the sun and move that heat around, and about how heat drives storms, droughts, sea level rise, heat waves, and more. But just because they don't know everything about the climate doesn't mean they know nothing. Far from it. They know for certain, and they've known for more than 100 years, that carbon dioxide, CO2, in the atmosphere traps the sun's heat. They know that burning fossil fuels, including coal, oil, and natural gas, adds extra CO2 to the atmosphere beyond what's already there naturally. They know that humans have been burning more and more fossil fuels since the Industrial Revolution, and that, as a result, levels of CO2 in the atmosphere are more than a third higher than they were a couple hundred years ago. No responsible scientist, including most of those who have been labeled climate skeptics, argues with any of this. There's also very little argument over what the broad effects of an increase in CO2 should be. The planet should get warmer. Sea level should begin to rise as warming ocean waters expand and as the warmer air melts glaciers and ice caps. That is exactly what both ground-based and satellite measurements have shown. On average, the oceans are about 8 inches higher than they were in 1900, and the temperature is about 1.3 degrees Fahrenheit hotter. Things get more complicated when scientists try to predict what's likely to happen in the future. The reason is that Earth doesn't just respond passively to increasing temperatures. It can react in all sorts of ways that might boost the temperature rise or hold it back. And scientists haven't yet unraveled all of these possibilities. Increasing cloud cover could reflect extra sunlight back into space. Decreasing ice cover in the Arctic could do the opposite. Melting Arctic permafrost might release extra carbon that has been in a deep freeze for hundreds of thousands of years. It's also not clear precisely how the changes in temperature will translate into changes in local conditions, although it's very likely that familiar weather and climate patterns will change, perhaps in surprising ways. That's why this book isn't titled Global Warming, but rather Global Weirdness, since warming is only part of what we can expect. These uncertainties are one reason the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or IPCC, could only narrow the likely temperature rise by 2100 to between 3.2 degrees Fahrenheit and 7.2 degrees Fahrenheit above what it was in 2000. Another reason is that we don't know if fossil fuel use will keep going up, or level off, or decline over that period. This isn't to say that literally every climate scientist agrees with these findings. Some think that the temperature rise will be less than 3.2 degrees Fahrenheit, while others think it could be more than 7.2 degrees Fahrenheit. But there's no field in science, from genetics to evolutionary biology to astrophysics, where agreement is absolute. The reports issued periodically by the IPCC are meant to be snapshots of what climate scientists generally agree on at a given time. The most recent report came out in 2007. The next one is due out in 2013 or 2014. And despite some very public criticisms about the organization and its procedures,